welcome to this week's Karma Cards. So I'm releasing this episode a little bit early because this Thursday there is a new moon and solar eclipse in Gemini. And that's the day that I usually release my blog on Thursday, but instead I will be hosting the New Moon Spirit Circle. So I wanted to release this early to make sure everybody got this message in time, and also to give you the opportunity to join us at the next New Moon Spirit Circle. So if you'd like to join me for some manifesting and working with some pretty potent energy, because we're talking about a total solar eclipse, which is going to have a 6-month impact on your life, you can join me by going to this link here and signing up to join us for manifesting, meditation, and psychic Q&A. The message from the team this week is all about allowing the next version of you to come forward. And this is so interesting because every month in my Patreon group, I have an intention for the month that we do our artwork around and our manifesting and our meditation around a theme. And the theme was allowing that next version of you to come in. So today, when the team was like, here's the message, allow the next version of you to come in, I was like, I mean, it makes sense that this is how I get the inspiration, is I tap into the energy and I ask the team, what should we be focusing on? And of course, it all makes sense. But as I'm kind of contemplating this week's message, I've been looking back at the messages that have come previous, and it's very clear that it's all building on something. So last week's message was about going through the test. Before that, there were a lot of messages about going through the healing cycle and going through that, like breaking things down. It's all building up to this moment, this next version of you who is I kind of feel like this new moon solar eclipse really allows this next version to solidify. Something really solid is going to come through. And so they're asking us right now to really think about what's trying to come through in your life and to realize that your job right now is to be like a midwife and allow it to come forward. There's new creative processes and new levels of consciousness. We know the new levels of consciousness are coming in. We can look at the Schumann resonance. It's still going like way up there, off the charts. And remember, every time that's activating, that's reflecting that there's this higher level of solar energy, which there is. There's been a lot of solar activity as well. And that all translates to higher levels of consciousness coming through. So, let's think about this. When they're asking us to midwife something, to birth it, we're there to support it happening rather than forcing it, right? We're not being asked to push or force. We're being asked to hold the space for what's coming through. And the beautiful thing is you don't have to have like a solid idea even of what it is that's coming through. It's holding the potential new energy, especially around you, the next version of you that's coming through. And so you're really being asked at this time to really hold that space. Now, you might still feel like you're going through a type of testing process, and I feel like it all comes together, right? Because the test is about these tests that we're given are really about where is our consciousness right now? Are we still processing things through an old way of thinking, or are we allowing ourselves to align with a higher, newer way of thinking to come through? And so that's where we're getting these opportunities to do it. So we're in this beautiful moment of something absolutely new for you. And perhaps it's that thing you've been working towards. Maybe it's that thing that you've been, a way of being, a way of living your life, a way of expressing yourself. Because remember, we're also in Mercury retrograde, which is all about the reevaluation of self-expression. So it all just blends beautifully together, but they really keep concentrating when I ask about it. They're like, no, there's a new version of you coming through. You, it's not even 2.0, 3.0, it's like 4, 5.0, right, is coming through. And this version of you has a totally different approach to problem solution, has a totally different approach to how you're going to reach your goals, how you're going to move towards your destiny. And it can feel really foreign because it's new, right? It's a new process. And I think that by allowing ourselves to hold space for it, that allows us to build trust, deeper trust into the process. So the message right now is, it's pretty simple. It's not like we're not on standby and we're not active. We are holding the space for you, allowing those new thoughts to come in, allowing yourself to expand your consciousness with ease, which means that, and this actually, again, makes sense with the retrograde energy. We're not being asked to like take quick action. It's more like allow something to stimulate you, allow yourself to be aware of your response or reaction, and evaluate if that's how you want to move forward, or is there another path that's coming forward for you. In some cases, it might be like your old response was, I got to take care of this, I got to do something, I got to take action now. I'm totally guilty of that. And your new response might be like, okay, let me hold this, let me think about what course of action I feel impelled to take, but also, is there something different now coming through? Oh, I see, I'm supposed to sit with this longer. Well, that feels weird. Feels weird to sit with this, but I'm going to trust that new impulse and I'm going to follow that and see what happens. So that's what we're being asked to do. It's going to be, again, it's kind of like wearing a brand new pair of shoes, right? It's the first time you love it. You like the new version of you. You like the new pair of shoes, but at the same time, you got to get used to them. Your feet, you're very aware that this is new and it's an unfamiliar feeling, and it's going to take a minute to ground into it and really like be able to stop being so conscientious of how those shoes feel on your feet. It's a very similar process to that. So if you want to go deeper into this work about allowing that new version of you forward and creating a space of trust, definitely join us at the New Moon Spirit Circle. I know by the time that this is live and people see it, you'll have like one day to sign up, but you can sign up even on the day. So if you at the last minute you're like, I wish I would have done that, you can totally sign up, and you will get to be a part of that experience. You'll get to do the psychic Q&A, and you'll get to keep the recording. So if that sounds good to you, go to blythestarlight.com/spirit-circles. Let's do karma cards. Karma cards. All right. For those who are new to karma cards, let me go over them with you super quick. So I have 3 decks here. I have planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And all you have to do to play is tune in to feel whether you need action-related answers or outcome-related answers. I've asked my team, what's the message for this week? I've got my 2 sets of answers. See, here's the red, which are action, and blue, which are outcome. So take a moment, feel into that, and decide, what do you need? Action, outcome, or both? And while you're doing that, let me tell you the timing of this reading. This reading is for June 9th through June 16th. And the flavor of this reading is the North Node, which represents the future, and Aquarius, which also represents the future, and the age that we are currently in. We just started this in the 5th house again, just like last week, which is the house of creation, or also I call it the fun house because fun is a big part of the creative process. So it kind of gives you an idea of what we're going to be stepping into here. For those who chose action, your spiritual action at this time, have faith in your vision with the trust of a child. Wow, I feel like we keep getting this one, which is good. I really want you to trust this. They really want you to. Trusting creates holding space. Hold space for your vision. Hold space for the next version of you. Mental action at this time. Do not worry about what's new and different about fun, romance, and making art. Yeah, so holding space, trusting the process. You don't have to think too hard on this, right? You're holding something. You're not really doing the work. Let it do its own work. Let it birth itself. You're holding the portal open for this next version of you. You don't have to take on problems that aren't even here yet, and you don't have to try to, the brain, right, wants to rationalize everything and figure it out before it gets there. You don't need to do that. Just hold that space. Physical action. Now is the time to use the most unconventional way and do it dramatically. I feel like this is really connected to that new moon total solar eclipse. Like I said, eclipses are very powerful. We're getting, closer and closer to the Lion's Gate, to the Syrian Stargate. Like all this stuff starts to happen in the summer. It's always a very potent time and energy. A lot of things get created, and it makes sense when you think about that's the season that things come to fruition, is summer, right? That's when the fruit is ripe and ready to eat. And I feel like this is sort of mimicking that and what it's saying. It's like, this is the moment. Hold that space. Let that new version through. Let the vision come through, right? It's a beautiful lesson about change. So changes are happening in our personal world and in the world at large. And just like with last week when I was talking about my beloved Mr. Pants and, how difficult that transition was, this morning my kid said to me, "Mom, it's never going to be the same without Pants." And I said, "You're right. It's never going to be the same without him. We can't go back now." And I said, "But do you see that there's a beautiful gift and an opportunity here? Like the door has been opened to change, a change that we couldn't control. But there are changes that we can make with this tidal wave of change. So when your world gets changed by some kind of outside or higher circumstance, it's easy to get caught up in mourning the past and really trying to hold on, or really trying to, it's natural. I think it's human and normal to just get caught up in it. Like, I don't want this. This isn't the change that I signed up for, or I wasn't ready for that, or it used to be so good this way. It's so easy to get caught up in that story. But what we're missing, if we get too caught up in it, if we don't allow ourselves to let it move through us and wash over us, if we get held in that place, what we don't see is it's a doorway that just opened to a new way of being. In Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, he talks about this all the time, that the environment is a huge factor in whether you can change yourself. So I want you to think about this. There are changes that you do want to make, right? Maybe there's mental patterns or blocks that you've held on to for a long time and you really want to shift those. And one of the difficulties with trying to make a shift like that is our environment, because our environment is a constant reminder of who we were. Not who you are, who you were. Because if you look around your space right now, you're going to see choices you've already made. Okay, all of the things that you're looking at, the furniture, the books, the accessories, trinkets, whatever you're looking at, it's all who you were. This is done. It's in the past. And so when you are constantly surrounded by who you were, it's more likely that you're going to repeat the patterns of who you were. And if you are actively trying to move into who you want to be, then you need something that tips the scale. You need a change in your environment. In fact, one of the things that he's noted in his work is that people do better at making changes at his 5-day retreats, where they're away from their home in an absolutely new environment where there's nothing around them signaling to them who they were. And change comes easier because of that. Well, when life gives you a change, when it changes something drastically for you, whether you wanted that change or not, it's still a gift and an opportunity to ride a wave. and change into a version of yourself that you desire to be. It's actually easier now. I hate to say it because it hurts, right? It's not something that's easy to say, but because of his passing in my life, and he was a constant, and I love him so much. Because of that change, though, I saw a window open up where it was like, you can't go back. And I was like, you're right, I can't go back. And I was sad and it was painful. And then I was like, I can't go back. That means I can go forward, or I can change something in the way I go forward, because I can't ever repeat what was. And it was like, wow, thank you for this gift, right? You've got an opportunity here, and it allows, like, so much has shifted in my mindset that I've been trying to shift because I saw the window and I jumped in. And I feel like this is what this is saying here too. Now is the time to use an unconventional way, right? Unconventional can mean a change you didn't ask for or desire. And do it dramatically. And I did. I was like, you know what? There's a window open here. I can't go back, but that means something else can come forward. And then, of course, now the universe is like confirming it with like, yes. And no, everybody like, there's so many opportunities. Like, don't be too upset about the changes that are coming, because it's all a beautiful opportunity to hold space for you to shift into who you really desire to be, right? We can't be stuck if something is fundamentally changed. So I hope you see that gift too. All right, now let's go into outcomes. For those who are choosing outcomes in the North Node in Aquarius in the 5th house. Spiritual outcome. There will be genius to experiment with the power of love. This feels so good. It's laying it right out there. This one is not hard to figure out. There will be genius to experiment with the power of love, right? So big energy, beautiful shifts, new ideas, new consciousness coming forward. Mental outcome. Success from the discoveries of investments, gambles, and other games. All right, it's gamble, right? It's a gamble to shift your way of being, to fully lean into a change. It feels risky because that's why people don't change, actually. Most of us, why we have a hard time changing, or why people don't change, is because the familiar patterns of what they are so comfortable and give them a feeling of security that we all want security too. So it's kind of like the brain's like, why would I risk all this security for something that I have no idea if I'm going to get it or not, right? So that comes up for people. But what they're saying right now is, this is as much reassurance as we can get from the universe that you're going to succeed and it's going to be good by taking the risk on yourself. Take the risk on this new version of you. Trust it. Trust it before you see it. Trust it before you know what it is. It's yours already. Might as well go all into trust, right? All right, physical outcome. Benefit resulting from the eccentricity of your creations. Oh, that eccentricity comes from Aquarius. Benefit resulting from so eccentricity, it's funny because that word in itself like denotes some kind of extreme, but I want you to think about a version of you who's got something you don't have right now. Maybe they have the confidence you feel like you don't have. Maybe they have the money you feel like you don't have. Maybe they have really strong boundaries and you feel like you don't have that. Wouldn't that feel outside of your comfort zone, maybe even larger than life, and therefore eccentric, right? So all it means is like it's something so different for you. Benefit resulting from the eccentricity of your creations, right? So the bigger and the more out there you go, the more it's going to benefit you. So I want you to dream big is basically what they're saying, and then believe big. So don't just dream big, but then start believing big, because you've got this. It's gifted to you. There's a window of opportunity. All you have to do is jump in and then hold the space for it. Like, yep, it's coming. I believe in it. I know it is here and I'm holding it. I'm ready. Like you got a catcher's mitt and you're like, I'm ready. Bring it on. Like, bring it to me. I'm gonna take it all in, right? So basically that means you have your heart open to the next version of you, and you're celebrating that version's arrival, and you're preparing for it on purpose. You are consciously deciding, this is the moment, now is the time, and you are ready. With that, I hope that you have a beautiful week. I hope that this new moon, solar eclipse energy, no matter what you're doing on that day, I hope that you feel it. I hope it fills you up, and I hope you see your beautiful potential, and the opportunity to be the person that you most desire to be is right here, and it's ready to line up with you. Until next time, thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.